Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another video on the History of podcast. And today I'm joined by James Valliant and I'm joined by Douglas Del Tondo. And today we're going to be refuting Dr. Carrier's blog post. And I'm going to put up the PowerPoint on the screen now. He wrote this piece last year, and it's titled James Valliant's Bogus Theory of a Roman Invention of Christianity. He makes an argument that James and his co-author Warren Fahey utilized an artistic representation from a 20th century book that was put into the book Creating Christ without citation, but he goes further than that. He asserts that James and Warren were lying about the existence of the coin that art piece that we're going to be looking at tonight represents. Therefore, he is asserting that this was some kind of fraudulent scheme on their part. And tonight we're going to be looking at the evidence, and we will conclude that Carrier is completely wrong about the things he argues in his article. So I'll leave it there. Also, add the link to purchase the book Creating Christ in the description below and the pinned comment, including a link to the documentary, the affiliate links. So I'll pass the microphone real quick to James, and then after that, I would like Doug to speak. So James, when you first heard about this, what were your thoughts? Like, what do you think of what Carrier has said?
Well, it's not much of a refutation, of course, of the theory because we marshal a whole lot of evidence. But even leaving that aside, we make no claims whatever about the image in question. In fact, it's rather obvious that it is a drawing. We make no claims it's a coin at all. We make no claims that it's an ancient image at all. None at all. It's in a section at the end of chapter 1 where we have a batch of images, including contemporary images, such as a pendant sold by the Catholic Church that utilizes the anchor with Jesus on it. And we utilize the Doubleday logo, and we utilize Aldus Mantuus, a Renaissance Venetian printer's use of it. What we're trying to stress there is that Christians have been using the image for many centuries. When we do utilize ancient material, we will give you the date. We will give you the origins of it, the nature of it. We make no such claims about this image. So his claim that we're making the claim is just empty because it's not there at all. And it's in a batch of images that are obviously modern. Now, the image in question was not created by us. All we're showing is that Christians utilize the image. And in the 20th century, it is absolutely a 20th century image, about 100 years old. And we didn't put Christian language, we didn't attach Christian language to the anchor and dolphin, but it shows that it is utilized by Christians. That's the only point that many of these illustrations at the end of chapter 1 are actually making, such as the pendant or Aldus Mantuus or Doubleday. Many of those images are not ancient evidence at all, and nor do we make any claim that this image is ancient or a coin. And so my response was, at the time when I saw the blog post from Dr. Carrier, that his argument is what is in fact bogus, and he's looking for some, first of all, picayune little issue, which is frankly a very picayune issue, but he's lying about our representations of it. We don't claim it to be an ancient coin at all. We don't claim it to be ancient at all. We just claim that it's one of many uses by subsequent Christians of the image.
All right, Doug.
All right. Well, I was interested in the topic because I've been on the channel with Jacob about, is Paul a Roman agent? And I did not want to see some of these arguments being made speciously or without foundation, that there is no evidence that the Romans used the dolphin with the anchor in particular. We can see that doesn't add up. And also he attacked you for the argument that the Herculaneum photo that you do include, that he couldn't find anything that says that matches that in history. So I looked at these two issues, and so I wanted to go over that. I did a PowerPoint. So why don't we go backwards? So this is the slide that I call slide A. This is the Herculaneum. Let's make sure we have the correct
Herculaneum.
Herculaneum. It's a tongue twister. I don't like it. Okay, so this is a picture, and I screenshot it from your book, and then I put it through what's called images.google.com. And I think Dr. Carter could have easily done the same thing. And within 30 seconds, you would get the answer to this. This is not a problem. Let me show you the discovery I made doing that. So here it is. So this is he says about this. They show photo cut and cite no source even for the photo, much less of any scholarship about the mosaic in this town. I could not trace their photo, but there is a famous mosaic of an anchor in a home recovered at Pompeii with no evidence of any Flavian connection. So this is bogus by him, because if you do the work I showed you, if you just do a search at images.google.com, you can upload any image and it will tell you where you can find it on the internet. And the third one from the left is over here, and you can see it was the ruins Herculaneum. Herculaneum. And so this was a French site by a bibliothèque. So it was basically a scholarly source called Première Millénaire, Les Ruines de, see, they have Herculaneum. Good, that's Latin. So, and then when you go there, you can see they're telling you this photo is in their library of photos, and this is their library. And I just wanted to show you 3 examples. And then they show exactly the same photo that you were relying upon, and it calls it Image 25, Les Ruines de Herculaneum. And why couldn't Dr. Carrier have found this? It took 30 seconds to just do appropriate searching. So the fact he was claiming he couldn't find it, and he couldn't find it after searching, led the reader to conclude that you had made a specious claim that this had anything to do with that city. And he said he was trying to imply you confused it with some similar image at Pompeii. So do you remember you did this research, that you found it?
This image was on display at a museum in Naples for many, many years, and it indeed indicated that it was, I mean, Herculaneum was its original location. It was the bottom of a pool built during the Flavian era. Right. The region, of course, because of Vesuvius's eruption in 79, the year where Vespasian is transitioning to Titus, of course, that's when it was frozen in time. And it was on public display until after our book was published. And so anyone could have actually visited the museum and seen it for themselves, and seen that it was an image, whether at Pompeii or Herculaneum. It was buried by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD, whichever town it was in. And because of the earthquakes that preceded the eruption, the general archaeological understanding of it was that it was a construction during the Flavian period, because they had to do a lot of reconstruction because of the pre-eruption earthquakes and so forth. And it's a very interesting image, because frozen in time in 79 CE, it shows an anchor flanked by both fish and humans. So it's human, fish, human, fish. Humans and fish are being connected in a similar way we see in Christian tradition, fishers of men tradition. Right. And yet it's a totally pagan, as far as we can tell, a totally pagan, rather nicely done bottom for this fountain that was frozen in time, as I say, in 79 CE.
Okay, so that era, 79 AD, or Christian era, that would be the time that Titus was what? What was his role in Rome?
He had just become emperor of Rome because of the death of his father, Vespasian.
Okay, so now that'll bring us back to the first topic, which would now be the coins. Now, I know you didn't say that the coins were the sole basis of your evidence or claim of Christians using this imagery, but it definitely shows that he was using this imagery. And even that, we'll see, did Professor Dr. Carrier actually find the evidence of these coins? So let me go back on that to the beginning of this. Let me see there. So he's going to say that Valliant and Fahey claim a lot throughout the book, like insanely a lot, to the point of almost lunacy. So he's calling you and your writing partner insanely or almost lunatic. That the symbol of the Flavian family is the anchor. And I don't think you said it's only their symbol, but they do use it as a symbol, correct?
It is, we in fact trace the entire history of it. It is an image that was used by the Seleucids during the Hellenistic period to connect the Seleucid rulers with the god Apollo. You can see the dolphin and anchor image on the island of Delos, for example, the legendary birthplace of Apollo. Indeed, the image was revived by Titus as one of the images he uses. He is the first Roman emperor to use the image. The image continues, it was used in several different coin issues under Titus. There are literally thousands and thousands, and by inference, presumably many such coins of different sizes and issues during the reign of Titus. And then it continued being used as a Roman coin under his brother Domitian, who later discontinued it. And the only other emperor who used it at all was Hadrian. And what's interesting about that is that Clement of Alexandria, the Christian writer, specifically says for Christians to use the anchor image that was used by Seleucus. So we know the Christian origin of the anchor. It's the Seleucid anchor. And when you look back at Seleucid representations of it during the Hellenistic period, it's clearly the anchor and dolphin. Now, there is a similar image, but it's an anchor. It's not an anchor. It's a trident and a dolphin that was used by Augustus. The anchor,
very similar
dolphin,
to an anchor.
Yeah, similar, but it's different. The actual anchor and dolphin, and we explain this all in the book. And like I say, there are thousands of issues, representations of this on Titus coins. With Titus's image on one side and the dolphin and anchor on the other side of the coin. And this is an indisputable fact that the dolphin and anchor was used by Titus. He was the first Roman emperor to use it, and he clearly lifted it from the Seleucids. Titus, as the conqueror of Jerusalem, of course, was active in the same general area. And so he lifted the use from the Seleucids. So both Titus's use of the image and Clement of Alexandria, the Christian writer's reference to the anchor, is to the Seleucid use of the image, which has uniformly the dolphin wrapped about an anchor.
Right. I do have that quote available. We'll get to the Clement of Alexandria, but I do want to show you, I found where in your book, if Dr. Carrier had looked, he would have found you have a footnote. Here's the book you did cite. See, here's another example of what you cited. You cited the Dictionary of Roman Coins here at footnote 14, page 339. That in turn was quoted in an article that appears here in the forum, ancientcoins.com. And this gives all the summary that you just gave everyone here about the Seleucids and then on to the Titus and so on. And if we keep reading, we would continue to read. So we would find right here in what you'd cited the Dictionary of Roman Coins. You cited this article from a numismatic page, Forum Ancient Coins, which had this quotation. This is a screenshot they made from the book Dictionary of Roman Coins, page 339. I obtained that book. I downloaded it. This is correct. And here it is. It clearly says that dolphins entwined round an anchor was at one time a symbol of Augustus. It is also seen on coins struck by princes of the Flavian family, sons of Vespasian. So now let's compare what was said here in the Dictionary of Roman Coins and repeated and cropped, screen captured at Forum Ancient Coins, that the dolphin wrapped around an anchor was on the coin struck by the princes of the Flavian family. Let's see what Carrier has to say. Valliant, Carrier says in this article about a bogus theory of Valliant and Fahey claim a lot throughout their book, like insanely a lot to the point of almost lunacy, that the symbol of the Flavian family is the anchor. There's literally no evidence for this whatsoever. Literally, it's right here. Was it that hard to find? I don't think so. I found this within just reading your book, a few pages in, page 141. There it is. I could find out about the dolphin and the anchor by doing word searches, and then I actually downloaded this book, A Dictionary of Roman Coins, and I verified what this crop here says. In fact, let me retrace the steps I took after I obtained the footnote and I realized you were quoting A Dictionary of Roman Coins. I downloaded the book and then I screen captured it. The book is over here to the left. Cited page 339. I pulled up page 339, and guess what? It says exactly what you said it was going to say. The dolphin entwined around an anchor was also seen on the coin struck by princes of the Flavian family, sons of Vespasian. Therefore, you're not a lunatic at all. So basically, the statements he was making that you had not found anything that supported what you just repeated to us here is backed up on what you said is backed up by this 1889 work, Dictionary of Roman Coins, page 339, and this website. And you had footnotes. These are footnotes I copied from your book. So it seems extraordinary, I would think, that he didn't find this in your book. Do you have any explanation of why he didn't see what you were referring to and then find this book and himself verify the book contains it? So I'm screenshotting the book at the same time.
None whatever. I have no idea why he missed the footnote or our citations, or indeed couldn't have found what we cited there even on his own without the footnote. This is as I say, an image that can be found on many Titus coins. Titus clearly got it from the Seleucids. It's well known to be a Seleucid. We show actual, and there we do make claims when we show a Seleucid image. For example, there are many examples of it. The round plate we have, which is a Seleucid era use of the dolphin and anchor.
Okay. But he was deliberately or intentionally mentioning that there was no evidence that this was used by the Flavians. I just want to show you. Here's the key quote I found.
I have to say is absolutely crazy. We have
listen to
examples of Titus coins with that on it.
Well, here's the reference from Dictionary of Roman Coins, this 1899 work, copied again into the form for ancient coins. It says, the dolphin entwined round an anchor was at one time a symbol of Augustus. It is also
Yes.
It is also seen on coins struck by princes of the Flavian family.
Titus
so you were correct that this was known or associated strongly with the Flavians, and it says so right here in the book.
Right.
So do you have any explanation why he didn't find this information that was cited in your book?
No, really a cursory examination of Roman coins and a familiarity with first century Roman coins would have shown him that a dolphin wrapped around a trident was used by Augustus, and that a dolphin wrapped around an anchor was used by Titus and his successor, at least for a while, Domitian, in numerous issues. You can on the ancient coin market, you can find numerous different issues of it by the Flavians.
Okay. So that's basically the evidence I wanted to allow Jim to explain and show that he had provided this information. Anybody could easily find this in footnotes. And it seems a mystery why Dr. Carrier did not do that.
Thank you for doing the research.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah. And I should have thought that anyone could have looked up the Dictionary of Roman Coins or just done an image search of ancient coins for sale today on the internet and found Titus coins with the dolphin and anchor image on it. Dr. Carrier, in saying this, is making an absurd claim that is, we have multiple instances, let me put it that way, that anyone could easily find of Flavian coins using this image. Furthermore, we have Clement of Alexandria specifically saying that the Seleucid anchor should be used as a Christian symbol. So
I do have some part of that from your book. If people are interested, it would be found. Your discussion of that is at page 29 of your book, and it begins this way. The first historical naming of the fish is an official visual symbol of Christianity by St. Clement of Alexandria, whose full name was Titus Flavius Clemens. He died in 215 Christian era. In his work, Christ's Instructor, St. Clement advises Christians to use dove or fish or an anchor, among other symbols, as their identifying seal. And this is the quote from his work, Christ and the Instructor, Book 3, Chapter 11. And it reads, "And let our seals be either a dove or a fish or ship scudding before the wind, or a musical lyre which Polycrates used, or a ship's anchor which Seleucus got engraved as a device. And if there be one fishing, he will remember the apostle and the children drawn out of the water."
Well, thank you. As I say, according to the Catholic Encyclopedia, in the 2nd and 3rd centuries, the anchor was used more frequently than the cross, and many times more frequently in Christian catacombs than the cross was used symbolically. Everyone's familiar with the fish image, and of course, dolphins in the ancient world were thought of, even though they're mammals, and we know that today through modern science, they were thought of as the king of the fish in ancient natural history sources. So it's just amazing. I'm just astounded. I have no explanation for why Dr. Carrier could not find this clearly Flavian use of the dolphin and anchor, much less see the connection between that and the earlier Seleucid use, the Jewish coin use of the anchor at least, and then all the images you can find in the catacombs of anchors and fish, and Clement of Alexandria, a known Christian writer, saying that the Seleucid anchor should be used as a Christian symbol. And that's really all I have to say about it as well. What was interesting about the Herculaneum pool image mosaic, it has been pulled from public view in just recent years since the publication of our book. We're not sure why or what motivated the removal from public view, but nonetheless, it's fascinating because it does not show a dolphin wrapped around an anchor. It shows fish and people moving towards the anchor, a well-known symbol of safety, right? So the anchor is a symbol of coming to, you weigh anchor when you're coming, you want the boat to stay put. When you're coming, when the ship is coming to rest. But you have fish compared to humans, which is a specifically Christian ideological point, right? Fishers of men and all that. And so what you have here is fish and humans aiming for the safety of this anchor symbol. The anchor symbol, from inference, we draw the inference, then since it's an identical symbol used by the Seleucids, that Titus's source was also the Seleucids. The Roman emperors used many Apollo images from the Hellenistic period, Delphic images, things like that. As I say, on Delos, the legendary birthplace of Apollo, you can see the oldest examples of that. I've been to Delos, seen them for myself, multiple images of the dolphin wrapped around the anchor. That's clearly the source, the Seleucid Apollo connection. And there is the famous story in Homer of Apollo turning himself into a dolphin. And so you can trace the entire history. We attempt to outline that entire history from the use at Delos, some of which may have been sponsored by the Seleucids. We show Seleucid use of the dolphin and anchor image. Then we show the exact same image and being first used in precision instead of like a trident, like with a dolphin as Augustus had used. But Augustus also used Apollo images. There's this famous story in Suetonius of how Augustus was in effect claiming to be a son of Apollo and the niece of Julius Caesar. And so what you see is Titus and his successor Domitian, at least for a while, using this in numerous issues on coins. So it's clearly, and they were the first Roman emperors to use the precise Seleucid image. We also cite the fact that Jewish coins also used the anchor, and they could only regionally, logic would give us good inference that they picked it up from the Seleucids as well. And then remarkably, the Christian writer Clement of Alexandria says this anchor that we use as a Christian symbol comes from the Seleucids. So it appears that both Christians and Titus got it from the Seleucids because it's a regionally popular image.
Now how strong are you relying upon Clement of Alexandria to reestablish that Christians were using this anchor with the dolphin? Is that your key evidence?
Well, it really is very revealing evidence because it's in the text of verifiable Clement of Alexandria. On the other hand, one need only go through the Christian catacombs. The oldest of the catacombs of St. Domitilla, which are recognized as the oldest evidence, clear evidence of Christianity in Rome, use the anchor and the fish and the fish and the anchor repeatedly. And indeed, in the catacombs, other catacombs in the 2nd and 3rd century, anchors are everywhere associated with fish, anchors, fish. And later Christians would use dolphins and anchors all over the place. At the Hagia Sophia, for example, in Istanbul, you can see giant dolphins of the same sort on the doors of the Hagia Sophia. And then we show all kinds of later use. In fact, there are all manner of, you can go into churches, maybe something that Carrier doesn't do, but you can go into contemporary Orthodox in Russia, in Catholic churches, you can see anchors and dolphins. What's really interesting is that the martyrdom of the earlier Clement of Rome, Clement of Rome was, the legend says, and this is, I understand, later legend, was martyred by being tied to an anchor and thrust into the sea. So the anchor, and so you've got Clement of Rome wrapped about an anchor.
Finding out how the Romans thought of that anchor.
Which kind of, there are multiple ways in which you can confirm the Christian use of the anchor at an early stage. Let me put it that way. Images in the catacombs, images on Christian churches today. I mean, for example, the image that we use that he's complaining about is indeed a 20th century image. We don't claim it to be an ancient image at all. We don't claim it to be a coin at all. But we didn't invent the image. It's a 100-year-old image, and it's got Christian language surrounding the dolphin wrapped about an anchor. So Christians have been using this symbol from the 2nd century to the 20th century. And you can still see an anchor pendant with Jesus wrapped around the anchor. And that's sold today in shops by the Catholic Church.
So even in today's modern world, some Christian denominations use this imagery to represent Christianity itself.
Particularly Eastern Orthodox churches, or even Roman Catholic churches. For example, when we were making the documentary of Creating Christ, it is a funny thing. I had not checked out the local, Immaculata here in San Diego, the headquarters, diocesan headquarters for the Bishop of San Diego. And the documentarians took us there. None of us had seen the inside of that Catholic church before. And we walk in, and we see all manner of representations of anchors and dolphins. And they have a little shrine to St. Clement of Rome being martyred on an anchor.
Okay. And then when you tie it together with what Clement in the 2nd century said, that Clement, and referencing the Seleucid imagery.
Seleucid anchor
is
the source for the Christians.
So that is clearly the Seleucid. It's definitely the anchor with the dolphin wrapped around it.
And so it struck us as curious that, well, we know that Titus, all you have to do is read Suetonius and Tacitus, and they're pagan Roman writers writing, in the circa 120 or shortly thereafter, they make the flat out claim that Titus was the Jewish Messiah. The Jews, the motivation for the war was their messianic prophecies, according to Josephus, Tacitus, Suetonius. Tacitus and Suetonius, Josephus says Vespasian was the true Messiah, that the Jews got that wrong, that a Roman emperor was the Jewish Messiah, and that comes from Josephus, who was working for Vespasian and Titus. And then you've got the Suetonius and Tacitus, Roman writers, a few decades later, clearly stating that Titus, as well as Vespasian, were the true Jewish messiahs of prophecy. So if Jesus is being represented in this fashion, according to Clement of Alexandria, way back at the end of the 2nd century, and we've got Titus using it, who also claims to be a Jew, part of Flavian propaganda, is clearly that his Flavian bosses were the true messiahs. So in both Jesus and in Titus, we have the dolphin and anchor image being used to represent a person who claims to be the Jewish Messiah. And both Titus and the Christians admit, in effect, they get it from the Seleucids. So it's the same image. So it's just a curious overlap that all of these anchors you see in Christian catacombs, very frequently associated with fish, for example, is got to be the same related image. It's a family, as we point out in the book, a host of related symbolic imagery, and it's imagery you can find on all kinds of Christian churches. in all kinds of Christian churches. So it is both a Christian image and it is a Flavian image. And anyone who does a modicum is like, thank you so much for doing the research you did. But anyone who does a modicum of research, first of all, on ancient Flavian coins, can see it was used by the Flavians on their coins. Titus started using it, and then it was continued by Domitian. And then the only other emperor who uses the precise image, interestingly enough, was Hadrian, who was putting down the second great messianic rebellion under Bar Kokhba.
Okay. And I just want to make it clear, the reason I want to come to your support, spiritually speaking, I'm a Christian, and one of the things that I believe is that Paul was the introduction of paganism into Christianity and co-opted it to serve the Roman Empire. He says in Romans 16, he salutes his relative Herodion, which in Greek means son of Herod, obviously one of the 4 sons or grandson of Herod the Great, and one of them would have been Herod Antipas. And that was the guy who sent Jesus back to Pilate to be executed. So that's my perspective, and why I see great support for what you're saying is something that will help Christians see, we need to re-examine Paul. And I know that's not your issue, but that's my issue. But on the other hand, you should not be insulted or derogatorily referred to or defamed for saying things that are true. So that's why I thought I should step forward.
Well, I have to give my evaluation. What seems shoddy is Dr. Carrier's scholarship. He didn't do the research which could show that it was on Flavian coins, that very image, and nor did he do the research of the catacomb use of dolphins or fish and anchors, nor did he look up Clement of Alexandria, and nor did he take a walk through an Orthodox or Catholic church, which shows Clement of Rome being martyred on an anchor, which kind of cinches it as far as we're concerned. It was both it has of Seleucid origin. The anchor was used by later Jewish coin issues, and then the first Roman emperor to precisely use that image in his association was Titus, who is thought to be a Jewish messiah. And then you'll see the same image being used by Christians, Aldus Mantuus in the Renaissance, Doubleday books to this day, or the pendant sold by the Catholic Church with Jesus on an anchor. So it is a Christian image used by Christians for centuries. It is a Flavian image you can find on multiple issues of Flavian coins, and both Christians, and Clement of Alexandria gives it away, it's the Seleucid anchor. And so I don't think you need to be a PhD from Columbia to put up the inference. But what seems to be shoddy is Dr. Carrier's scholarship, frankly. It seemed that, I've had debates with Dr. Carrier. We mentioned him critically about the James passage in Josephus in our book, and Jacob was kind enough to host a debate between myself and Dr. Carrier on the authenticity of the James passage. And so perhaps it's sour grapes about our own criticism of Dr. Carrier's claim that the James passage is inauthentic, not a reference to Jesus or the Jesus movement or the James associated with the Jesus movement. But in general, although I am not a Christian, Mr. Del Tondo, I absolutely agree with you in general that the pre-Paul Jesus movement would not have used an image like this. That would be quite unlikely in my view. And that Paul, in Galatians, we hear about Paul's argument with James and Cephas. Paul was, his Torah criticism, his nakedly pro-Roman politics suggests to me that one of the fundamental difference, and the heated argument you read that was going on between James and Cephas and Paul shows that indeed, and Paul locates the difference in his own revelation. So I do agree with you that Paul is de-Judaizing, we can take certainly criticizing Torah, certainly taking a pro-Roman political stance, which may not have been original at all to the original Jesus movement of James and Cephas.
Thank you. Good.
Make sense?
Yes, I agree with you. 100%. Great job.
Thank you. And thank you for doing the research. I mean, the research that if anyone's really curious about, I thought would have done. They would have looked up the Dictionary of Roman Coinage to find a Flavian image.
And it's cited in your book.
And there are physical
copies. And I downloaded the book.
You can
I
get the
downloaded that
coin.
book, by the way, the Roman coins book. I downloaded from our Internet Archive, so it's not hard to find. It doesn't cost a penny. Images.google. You just type that Herculaneum coin image and just put it uploaded into images.google.com, and you'll find it's what you said it was.
It seems rather straightforward to us. We're
Very
using
straightforward.
exotic sources at all, and you can today purchase for yourself Titus coins that have the dolphin
Yes, you can.
image on it. They're
The
physical.
numismatics keep track.
Exactly. There's physical evidence that someone can go find verified first century Titus coins with the dolphin and anchor image on it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of puzzling.
Puzzling, at the very least. It seems that he may have had some gripe against me, and that might explain his shoddy research and his harsh claims. There's no doubt he makes harsh claims about it. Bogus.
That you're a lunatic? You think that's harsh?
Lunatic.
Almost lunatic.
I don't think I'm a psychotic.
He said almost lunatic, so it's not completely over the top.
I've seen many, many photographs of different Titus coins that use the dolphin and anchor image. I myself have been to Delos and the island of Delos in the Aegean, which is right off, very near to Mykonos. And anyone can go see that. They can see Seleucid uses of the dolphin wrapped around an anchor. You can read Clement of Alexandria. You can take a stroll through the catacombs and count the anchors and fish. And then you can see physical examples of Titus coins using the dolphin wrapped about an anchor. So I don't know what he's talking about. We do not claim that the specific image that he uses, we show in actual coins that are Titus coins that are actually use the image. Now, those are images he might want to take a peek at because physical examples of those survive to this day, suggesting it was a commonly used image on Titus and Domitian coins. So it's easily verifiable. It seems to me that a scholar could easily verify any of this. We're not using exotic sources. A dictionary of Roman coinage, the Catholic Encyclopedia. We show actual ancient images. He zeroes in on this one image, and that image we make no claims is an ancient thing or even a coin, but it shows how the Christians use that image even up to the 20th century. That's
amazing. Amazing. Very good job.
Thank you, sir. And thank you for the research.
No problem.
If anything's bogus, it's Carrier's claim that we're bogus.
Or almost insane. Lunacy. I think the other word he called it lunacy. So that's, you have to be careful when you throw a big rock at somebody that might not hurt you in the foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Hello viewers, thanks for watching this video from the History Valley YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if any of you wish to further support this channel, please consider checking out this channel's Patreon page and becoming a patron. And or donate through PayPal or through Super Chat during your live stream. Thank you.